Now, some folks don't take to the notion of love at first sight. I do. It was a perfect summer day in '65. I walked in the back door and saw my sister Jan talking on the kitchen wall phone to her boyfriend Kevin, who was a real nice, clean cut guy from the right side of the tracks, and he wanted to come over and see her in the worst way. Well, the problem was he was watching his 10-year-old sister and would have to bring her with him if he was coming. I was pouring Kool-Aid when she hung up and excitedly told me that they were coming over and I'd have to be nice to her and find something to do. Why me? 'Cause she's the same age as you. Just do it. She ran upstairs to change into a mini skirt and white go-go boots like they wore on Shindig and Hullabaloo. She tuned in every week to learn all the latest dance moves and watched her favorites like the Lovin' Spoonful, Paul Revere and the Raiders, Gene Pitney, and the Righteous Brothers. When she came back down, she was carrying her record player with a stack of 45s already loaded on the changer so they could slow dance if they wanted to. Oh, brother. Kevin pulled up to the curb in his mom's station wagon, and Jan said, "Come on." I was reluctant, but I followed her out onto the front porch to meet him, because that's what we did back then, go out and greet our guests. Out of that wagon stepped a brown-eyed girl with tumbling auburn curls, wearing her mother's bright red lipstick and a double-holster gun belt to die for. And Kevin said, "Danny, this is my sister Jane." She said, "Hi," and flashed a bashful, beautiful smile. I said, I was impressed. Oh yeah, I was impressed. I saw her lips moving, but I couldn't hear anything over the roar of blood rushing past my ears. Even at 10, I was all about the movies, and this had the makings of a Frankie Avalon and Net Funicello scene. We all went into the living room, and it wasn't long before Jan told me to go find something to do. I told her it was getting cloudy out, and I thought I heard thunder in the distance. She gave me the look and said, "Get the umbrella and go somewhere." Where? There's nothing to do. When Kevin was hopeful we'd leave, so he could be alone with my sister, and took some silver change out of his pocket and suggested I take Jane down to the Tasty Freeze and get her an ice cream. Well, he held out the change and asked, "Is this enough?" Well, I just stood there and gave an aloof impression I'd seen in the movies and waited. It didn't take long, and he opened his wallet and took out $1. I grinned at Jane. "Hey, want to get a Tasty Freeze?" "Okay." There was that bashful look again. Jan was happy. They were getting rid of us for a while. Well, we stepped out and saw the dark clouds just to the west and heard rumbling thunder roll across the sky. As we were walking, I realized that I needed some get-acquainted conversation, so I asked her where she went to school, and she told me she went to St. Anthony's Catholic School. Then she asked me, "Where do you go?" "Pearly. It's public school." We reached the corner and were waiting for the light to change when a big clap of thunder boomed overhead and it began to pour. She said, "Let's go in here." So we ducked through the door of Darnell drugstore and out of the rain. And her eyes lit up when she saw the soda bar in the back, and we took 2 seats on swivel stools at the end of the long counter. Well, she ordered a strawberry double dip cone and I had chocolate. And we talked about our favorite shows, and we liked all the same ones. Fury, My Friend Flicka, Sky King, The Rifleman. It was like we were soulmates. And we were only 10 years old. By the time we'd finished our ice cream, her mother's red lipstick was nothing but a memory, but she looked just as pretty as before. Well, the rain was still coming down in sheets outside, and so I ordered 2 Green Rivers. Well, she'd never tried one before, and it somehow made me feel more worldly, opening her eyes to this new experience. But we swiveled on the stools, and our knees touched when we met in the middle, and we liked that feeling a lot. And there we sat, drinking our Green Rivers in paper cones securely seated in a metal base, and I showed her my green tongue. She laughed, and she showed me hers. I knew then that we'd moved on to a whole new level, swiveling and touching knees and slurping the melting ice with our straws. Well, the rain let up, and we stepped outside. I opened the umbrella, and we started slowly back to the house. To stay dry, we had to be really close together, and the backs of our hands kept brushing past each other as we walked along. But she fumbled for my hand and laced her fingers between mine. It started feeling like a Gene Kelly movie, and it was all I could do to keep from breaking into a song and dance, but I resisted it. We went up the steps to the front porch, and I was about to open the screen door. She asked if we could just stay outside and talk. Sure. But she didn't move away or let go of my hand. And for the rest of my life, the smell of a warm summer rain and sweetheart soap would make me smile. And inside, Kevin and Jan were watching I Dream of Jeannie, and the end credits started to roll. It was that time already, and they stood up and slowly walked toward the door. In an hour never act of desperation, Jane stepped in front of me and kissed me on my lips. And all I could think of was, Gene Kelly, Gene Kelly, Gene Kelly. Kevin came out and pulled his jacket over his head. He said, "Come on, we gotta go." I held the umbrella over Jane and we ran out to their car. She got in and waved goodbye. And I stood at the curb and watched the tail lights until they turned left at the next corner and disappeared. Well, I didn't have to resist anymore, and I didn't wanna. I jumped off the curb into that flooded street, singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. I'm happy again, and just singing and dancing in the rain.